go, continuing with Cicero. 132, verum, but, ut, we'll take this as for the moment, faciam, as I make an omission of these things, misso, if you put an O in front, makes omission, it means to just drop the subject, which yam facta sunt, which have already been done, and ex is from these things, which nunc, which now, cum maxime fiant, which are especially fiant, are being done, nonne surely, quivis, anyone you want, potest is able to intelligere, to understand that the architectum of this genitive, of all these things, the architect and the machinator of all these things, the one who is Chrysogenus. Qui, so Chrysogenus is he who he took care of it, so that the nomen of Sextus Roscius was deferendum, was carried about, causa, of whose sake or of whose honour it was. Eutychius said that he should be accused. There's a lacuna de sunt non porca, not a very, it's not a small one, it's missing or something like that. We don't know what goes on. Okay, so we've jumped down to here. Aptam and ratio dispositionum existiment. So those people who think that they have a house or dwelling which is apt and well disposed in their mind, these are the people who in Silentius or Brutius habent, they live there, they inhabit it. In which place, Vic scarcely 3 times in a year they are able to hear any messages. Now from here to there is not Cicero, it's scholarly Gronion or some person here anyway. Chrysogenus is said to say, or could have said, it's not because I feared that the goods of Sextus Roscius would be taken away from me, for this reason that I dissipated all the goods of the estate, because Cicero says all the estate was broken up, but it was because I was building in Venetiam. For this reason I transtuled, I took away these things, and then blah blah blah. All this stuff isn't Cicero. It just goes on about I enumerated every single type of these delightful things basically which I had, possessions and menicipia. These are the goods and everything which I have, which I rapined away, which I took away. Okay, so all that's just guesswork by some scholar. And so Cicero goes on in 133. Another altar, this would be Chrysogenus, he's came down from the Palatine hill, and his house, his adibus suis, which he has for the causa animi, for the sake of his mind or his comforts. He has an Armenius rus, he has a pleasant place in the country and a suburban place, and plura praeteria, and besides he has many praedia, which are farms, and nequi, nevertheless, do any of them except that they are praeclarum, they're very great and very dignified, and proquim, close to Rome itself, close to the city. The domus of Chrysogenus, the house, is referted, it's packed with Corinthian and delicates vases. These are all things vases, as you know, in English, put flowers in, but in Rome you put they're like urns you put things in, which we see are of gold, silver and copper, when this area is famous for their works, in which, in Quibus, there's an orthepsa. It's got a self-cooker, which you can boil tea and stuff in which tanto, such was the pretium, such was the price, when recently Mercadus, when he bought it, that qui, those who were praetorunturing by, those who were passing by, quid, what the praeco, the herald, must have been an auction, what he was enumerating, the price that the herald was shouting, audibent, to those who were passing by when they heard it, they arbitrentor, they thought that a fundum, it's another word for a farm, we have there's fundo, there's praedia and other words they use. Anyway, some people would have thought that there was a estate being sold. Quid praeterea. So what besides calate argenti, carved out silver, and what of vestis stragulae? Stragulae is usually like blankets and things. Sometimes it can mean carpets. Vestis, it's like maybe clothing and carpets and other types of bedding maybe. And so what besides also pictarum tabulum? Tabulums are just planks of wood that they paint, so we'd probably paint on paper. They must have painted on wooden boards, etc. And what of signorums? These are statues. And what marmoris? What of marble? Apud illum, do you think there are? So what besides do you think someone of such a elegance would have? You'd have all this silver and cool stuff, basically. Tantum scilet quantum. Tantum and quantum go together, they're correlatives. Sceletic mean obviously, or one may imagine. So much quantity or amounts there was from multiple splendid families, from many splendid houses, that in the turba, in the confusion and rappery and the theft of things, he can be curved, piled up, you might want to say. A curvy is a pile, and the co means put a pile together, that you're potwe, which you're able in una domo. Domus is fourth declension, but it has some alternatives of the second declension, but it's female. How much you can pile up in one house. Vero, but, or moreover, comes as the second word in a sense. Familiam quantum, how many, familiam actually is the household slaves. How many household slaves and how much or what variety of them. Cum artifice does he have? So he has artifacts, people who make things. We probably get art and R's from it as well. So he's got very skilled slaves. How many slaves does he has, and how many varieties of skills do they have? Quid ego dicam? What can I say? And then 134. So mito hask. CE is a common thing added to a bunch of pronouns. So I omit these of the artis vulgaris. These are the common arts, common skilled slaves. The cockwas, the cooks, the shows it's male. Pistors, these people who bake bread. Lecticarios, a lectern is a bed, so lecticarons are people who carry sedan chairs and litters, etc. Causa, for the sake of mind and ears, so he has all these people who basically they entertain him. Tote, and just as many he has of men that quotidiano, that they daily in their cantu, in the singing of their voices and of their nerves. The nerves, the string on a bow or on musical instruments. So it'd be a musical instrument here, like they don't have guitars, but they have things a bit like them. And of the tibiarums, these are a tibia is your leg bone. They make flutes out of them. So the sound of their singing and of their bow stringed instruments and of their flute players in their nocturnal convivias, their banquets at night when they're feasting and they've got all these entertainers for the sake of pleasing. Personate, sono means make a sound, per again strengthen, it makes like thoroughly or throughout the night they sound in the tota vicinity, in the whole vicinity or the whole neighbourhood. There's all this noise going on. In hac vita, in this life or in this type of life, vocative, gentlemen of the jury again, quos, how much sumptus cotidianos? What's the daily expenses, do you think? Sumptus is the cost. What are the effusions, the outpourings, do you think they're to be? So what do you think the daily costs and the effusions would be similar to costs as well, maybe the extra costs? Which vero, this probably means truly here, of his convivia. So what do you think about his daily parties and all this money he's spending, and he's already mentioned up here all the luxurious things and all the slaves he has. Okay, so I've set up the daily dictionary word. Just then, effusio, an outpouring, a shedding or profusion. So this would be outpouring of all the costs really. Lewis and Charles, you can go to for more thorough sort of definitions. Anyway, Cicero, Credo. I believe, honesta, domo. Yeah. So what are the honest things I believe in? Ius motor, in this type of house. If a domus, this can be considered. The habenda would be the gerundive. So if this can be considered a house, remember domus is female. Rather than an officina, this is like a business of nequite, which is worthlessness. So if you don't want to consider it a house, if you want to call it a place of worthlessness or disgust, and a diversium, this is where you turn off from the road and stay in a diversorium of all types of disgrace, omnium flagellatorums. And that's it for the day.